Before this video can actually start, I do have a little bit of an update because today is the Friday episode of this project. There is really no update. I'm still at the same weight as I first started. That's a good thing. I've not gained weight and I've not lost weight, and also right now I'm just trying to get everything even. I'm 2 weeks into this project and it's rolling along very well. I have the schedule that I've kind of picked out is working well, so I'm very happy that part's working out, so I can actually start incorporating more and more stuff to my routine, and that's what I'm trying to work out right now. So hopefully by the time I start this project on season 2, there will be progress to be made. So, and with that all out of the way, welcome to the 2 Ton Nerds. As always, my name is Max James, and this is Let's Watch True Blood, a series retrospective of where I'll be watching the entire 70 episodes of the series. I'll be talking and discussing each episode. And in this episode, it's episode 6. A lot happens. In the previous episode, if you've been paying attention or following along with this project, a major death occurred. And it hit Sookie close to home. It was her grandmother, Adele, who throughout the episodes before have been quite a bit of an upbeat attitude. She was a nice someone who can go to for an advice and help Sookie with her mental abilities and help. It's just all the way around. She was a really respected woman. That's exactly what she was. And when the episode revealed that's who was killed in the kitchen of the house, it was like, oh my God, really? And that's really, and Sookie was just standing there motionless, and Bill came up behind her, and that's where the episode kind of ends, with kind of Bill kind of shaking her out of the shock of seeing her grandmother dead, and that's where the beginning credits start, and then that shows back up. Cops are there, coroners are there, they're doing their normal routine questioning, and Sam is trying to help Sookie, and he's trying to apologize for what transpired just a couple of hours earlier, and Sookie has nothing to do with this, and that's kind of a common theme with Sam for this episode, is that he constantly tries to help Sookie, and Sookie just has nothing to do with this. And so he kind of goes on his own little story arc with Tara, and they kind of define their little relationship what they kind of had started in I think like episode 2 or something like that. So they define their relationship a little bit better, and as Tara goes on her story arc, and she kind of reveals that she's trying to make up for help her mother, which I'll get into more of that in a second. But back to the crime scene. Bill gets questioned by the police, and it reveals that maybe Adele was not the intended victim. Sookie may have been, because the previous 2 people were both bitten, and they kind of had a little bit more interaction with the vampire than Adele did, besides just inviting him to a church and speaking for a crowd. That's about as it for her interaction with the vampire. So, with the vampire community, because Dawn and Mardette both had a little bit more extracurricular interaction with the vampire. So that's really about it for that crime scene, the beginning of the show. Then it starts off with the it's not the visitation, because the body was just can't really visitate someone close casket. So they kind of do like a I cannot think of the actual name for this. They just kind of show up at their house and kind of visit and with other people, and they kind of just give their condolences of what happened, and they all bring food, and there's a few scenes that are pretty funny dialogue between Lafayette and Tara where they finally kick everyone out, and that's when they're cleaning up the food, and Bill comes rushing through, because he kind of had a vision where Sookie is being strangled, but I I think he just sensed her dream. And so that's really about it. And I mean, Jason, he's having V withdrawals because because of Lafayette, basically. Like, try this again, and he's sweaty. And he kind of has a nice story arc too, because the night before he was with a girl, and he did not know what was going on. People tried to get a hold of him, couldn't. So when he finally showed up for work the next day, Renee and Hoyt had to reveal what happened, and that's where it cuts back to Jason barging in on the little get together for the town, or for close members. I don't know how you want to explain it, but he basically smacks Sookie around for a minute. Not for a minute, just kind of like one big slap across the face, and basically blames Sookie for the death of their grandmother. And Tara gets into his face and forces them all out of the house, and that's really about it. I mean, and also ends on a big note. They kind of show each character. Sam and Tara finally define, like I said, they'll define theirs, and then Tara's like, oh, I gotta do this, and they go off. She kind of gets out of bed and is like, oh, where's she going? And to reveal that she's going to go help her mother, because at the funeral, Letty Mae, which is Tara's mom, she gets up before the whole crowd at the funeral and tell that she didn't know him like the most of them did, but she did like her because she was a God-fearing woman and all that good stuff. And then after the funeral, she gets Tara alone and says she has a demon inside of her, which is actually just she's an alcoholic, and that's the demon inside of her. She wants to get it out, so she wants an exorcism, and Tara just blows it off, thinks it's funny, and that's about the end of that until Tara gets out of bed with Sam and goes off and helps Letty Mae. And Jason, he's just in bed with the same girl the night before, and he's not into it. He starts to cry. You can tell it's not just everything for Jason's falling apart. And then Sookie and Bill. This is the big ending for the episode. Bill and Sookie kind of embrace each other in front of the fireplace, and Sookie does what the previous two people did. Let the vampire bite her, and that's where it ends with Bill biting Sookie. And that's about it. I mean, and also there's a few other things, like the dog that keeps showing up throughout the episodes. It showed up in this episode, and it's just a lot of more questions have been raised than answered, because at the funeral, Adele's brother shows up in a wheelchair, and Sookie has nothing to do with this. It's like, why is he here? And Jason's like, he has the right to be here. He's family, and Sookie is just like, no, he can't be here. And so, but anyways, that's really about it for this episode. Like I said, more questions were raised than answered, and that's just a good episode. It really was, just to kind of show more people in a calm light, instead of like the few episodes before where everyone's kind of moving around. It's just kind of a downbeat episode, basically. So that's it. My name is Max James, and I'm going to go geek out.